Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. I am your humble French tarot reader and deck goblin marine. And today I'm so pumped because we're going to be doing one of my favorites videos to film. Every single year, I love sharing with you my favorite decks of the year, and today we're going to be doing my top 10 Oracle decks of 2025. I love watching these kinds of videos from my fellow tarot tubers. I think it's such a nice way to round up the year. I love seeing the decks that people have loved the most, and hopefully you'll enjoy seeing mine as well. I think by the time I'm gonna post this one, my top 10 tarot decks of the year should be up already, so if it is, I'll leave it in the card somewhere. Per usual, all the names of the decks I'm mentioning today are gonna be in the description box below. Down there you will also find the link to my second channel, The Waves of Your Soul Readings. That's where I actually use all these decks and read the cards for you guys. I post pick a pile readings, monthly guidance, and if you haven't checked it out yet, it would make me extremely happy if you joined us over there as well. So this year I'm gonna do things a little bit differently. Normally I rank my Oracle decks from 10 to 1. This year, honestly, because I've had such big challenges in terms of chronic illness, chronic pain, more than previous years anyway, my tarot practice and kind of card reading practice was a little bit in shambles, and I didn't use as much Oracle decks as I normally would. So it's very clear to me what my top 3 Oracle deck of the year is, and I'm going to be sharing with you ranking them, but the rest, it's very fluid. So I'm still going to be sharing with you 10 decks today. They are the highlights of 2025 for me, but I'm only going to rank my top 3 as the other ones are kind of standing equally in my mind. If you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and for sure, let me know in the comments which are your favorites, maybe top 1, top 2, top 3 Oracle decks. And little side notes, but this is the case for all of my top decks of each year. These are decks I acquired this year. They're not necessarily decks that came out this year. So just to make the distinctions. Okay, let's do this. I want to start with one honorary mention, which you guys, I'm still struggling to say 5 years on with my French accent, honorary, as it's a deck that isn't actually made to purchase. This was a deck that was created by Adam or Luthanxius on Instagram. I will make sure to leave his Instagram down below because he shares beautiful cards, some decks that he makes for his personal use, some decks that he's acquiring. I love his account. Than or Luthanxius on Instagram actually created a deck for his own personal use, the Wildscape Odyssey Oracle, and he super kindly sent a copy to me, which I have been using consistently, but I haven't shared much on my page because this is not made to purchase. I'm very, very grateful that he sent a copy to me. It's a collage deck and I used it consistently, and I couldn't do a top decks of the year without mentioning this creation because I used it all the time. It's a really healing deck. It's a beautiful collage deck. Keywords that are very expensive. I love the choices. Really diverse deck. It's a beautiful deck, and it's also has a very healing special energy that I'm just so grateful to have in my hands and that I've worked with consistently for my own personal use in 2025. You cannot purchase this, but I wanted to say a huge thank you to Ethan if he's watching, because I'm gonna cherish this for the rest of my life. And please definitely go and subscribe to Ethan's Instagram page, as he's always sharing beautiful poems and beautiful spreads and his other creations, and is definitely someone that is a pleasure to follow. So that's my honorary mention for the year, the Wildscape Odysseys. I'm beyond grateful to own a copy, as it's truly special. As I said in the intro, we're only going to rank my top 3. I'll leave that till the end of the video, but I still wanted to do mini categories. So we're going to start with my self-care deck, self-love decks, the decks that I really loved using this year for taking care of myself, taking a moment to tuning in with my soul. I have 2 decks for that really stood out for me this year. The first one is called Whales Can Save Us Oracle. This was a deck I backed on Kickstarter this year. It was created by Isaac Andres, who is a Spanish creator, I believe, as this particular Oracle is both in English and in Spanish. It focuses on whales, and if you guys don't know, whales are my absolute favorite animals, so this was the main reason why I actually got the decks on Kickstarter. When I saw all these beautiful whales imagery, I was like, take my money, please. But what I didn't realize was that this was going to be as healing and as nourishing as it was going to be. So it comes with a gorgeous guidebook. It's half in English, like I said, and half in Spanish. We have guidance messages, I would say, personal development, but you also have every single time some questions. So we have at the bottom here of the text, you always have like journaling questions, and that's mostly what I use this deck for, journaling, and also as a starting point for spreads. Because if you can see on each of the cards, you have a beautiful image and you have a question. And I have found these questions to be fantastic starting point to create spreads around. So what I would do is I would pull one card asking like, what do I need to think about? What do I need to know at this moment in time? Let's say I got, how can I embrace joy and happiness in my daily life? I would read the message from the guidebook, but then I would expand by putting tarot cards alongside this. Oftentimes I use the gentle tarot. These two together are really great. And so this would be starting point for a spread. Then using tarot cards to actually answer the question that is being asked. I'm pretty sure this deck is inspired by tarot because I do recognize some of the major arcana behind some of the cards. And if that's the case, I love that. And of course, look at these gorgeous whales. I'm a huge whale lover. I live currently, Reunion Island, we have whale season for around like June, July, August, September, where humpback whales come from the South Pole to have their babies by the shore, and then they leave once their babies are strong enough. I've been very lucky that in my life I've witnessed a lot of humpback whales, and this is particularly beautiful, and it's been particularly healing and joyful and nourishing to use, and I'm very, very happy I backed this on Kickstarter. I'll make sure to leave the Instagram of the creator down below so you guys can check it out. And if I didn't show you, the backs are all a little bit different, and I adore that. Super cute. Still in my self-care mini category, we have to talk about the Take What You Need Oracle. This is an affirmation deck. It's mass market, and I love this so much. This is by Positively Present, who you can follow on Instagram. They share all of their art, and it's always a joy when it pops up on your feed. And this is like one of those affirmation decks, so there's no guidebook, the text is on the card, but I personally adore it. I've used it non-stop, especially when I was very poorly, when I was in a lot of pain and I couldn't really engage with my deck's mud. This was very used as you literally pull a card and your message is there. You don't have to go to a guidebook. You don't have to, think about it too much or anything like that. You just get your message and move on with your day. And I found that really great as it met me where I was at the time. And on top of that, it's adorable. Originally, I had gotten this as a gift to a friend last year and she loved it. I kept thinking, man, I wish I had this deck too. I'm jealous because she was having such a good time with it. So I ended up picking it for myself, I think at the very beginning of this year. And I'm so happy I did because I really use this a lot. It's probably one of my most used deck of the year for myself and for others because it's just so easy, right? You pull a card, you have this super cute imagery, very colorful, very modern, but you also have a good message that's great for either a little affirmation for the day, or you can wrap a reading with it, which is what I mostly like to do for if I'm reading for someone else. It's great to have a last message from your guides, for example, and it's really a joy. I mean, it's simple, but it goes with so many things. Fairly affordable, it's mass market, and I think this would make for a great gift, honestly. If you're looking for a little oracle deck for someone, even if they're not into necessarily reading the cards, this is just a fantastic little self-care, self-love kind of gift that I think a lot of people would enjoy. And I don't know if I shared with you the backs, but they are super cute. The Take What You Need Oracle, a little mass market gem that I have adored. My next category, which holds two decks, is I would call it like my guidance decks, maybe to get messages from my guides, from my souls. Maybe it's a little bit of personal development. It's a way to get a message from your guide. The first one is the Pink Sugar Oracle. This is by Logan from Lark and Legend here on YouTube. Again, definitely if you're not following Logan, I invite you to do so. They are amazing as content creator, but also as deck creators. They have created amazing tarot decks, oracle decks, Lenormand, This, I believe, is their latest creation. It has 56 cards, and I adore Logan's art style and deck creation. They always have amazing guidebooks in their decks, and this is no exception. Here you can see for each of the cards, we have keywords, we have a deeper look, which is your guidance message, and then you have the creator's lens, which is why Logan decided to depict this card, like if there's a special memory behind it, if there's a special meaning behind it, and it's really giving you an insight behind the creation of the deck. It gives you a full look into the creator's brain, and I love that so much. It helps you to connect with the cards in a fantastic way. So really great guidebook. And this deck actually exists in black and holographic design. We call the Black Salt Oracle. So Black Salt Oracle and Pink Sugar, same images, just different color palette. This year, I have found myself more drawn to the pink version because I love pink, I love color, and it's just been a joy. For the edges, we have beautiful matte pink edges, really gorgeous. I love matte edges, you guys. I'm really in a phase where give me matte edges over any kind of glitter or over shiny any day. I'm really all about matte. I'm realizing it holds so much better and it still gives a nice finished touch to your deck. As you're gonna see, this is a deck that is gonna focus on daily objects that we can all recognize and maybe find in our own home. And so it's really all about bringing magic to the mundane. Right, we have the pizza cutter, for example, and we have this gorgeous, like pink, hollow, shimmery gorgeousness. I have absolutely adored using this one again for, I would say, mostly personal development, guidance. You can do a little bit of divination with this one. It's a very versatile deck though, so you could use it obviously intuitively and in so many different ways. I adore Logan's art style. I think it's really like relatable and very beautiful. There's often like little hidden nuggets that relate to video games and, you know, things of our childhood, which I love. And the guidebook is fantastic, like I was telling you guys. So this has been an absolute joy to read with. I absolutely wanted to shout it out as a fave. Again, the Black Salt Oracle is also great. Same imagery, just different color palette. Look at this gorgeous friendship necklace. How sweet is that? So cute. That's one, the coin purse. This reminds me of my grandma coin purse. She had one exactly like this. Beautiful indie creation by Lark and Legend. I don't know if I showed you the backs, so here we go. My other favorite deck of the year for getting messages from my guides, getting messages to help my soul move forward if I'm facing challenges, things like that, has been the Outlaw Oracle. This is also an indie deck. It's by Hilary Bank Self. I got this from Etsy. I love the box. It looks like a cigarette box, super cool. And as the name suggests, the Outlaw Oracle, this is a deck that focuses on the American Wild West. It's a deck that is a photography deck, as you're gonna see. That rebellious streak that is also linked to country music and the American desert and all of that kind of aesthetic and vibe. Really, really well written. For each of the cards, you have an image of the card. You have what they've called a straight shot, which I love. It's a really cheeky deck, right? Even the writing goes well with the theme. So straight shot is like straight up medicine, no bullshit. Here we go, let's hear it. And you have upward and reversed. You always have recommended songs, which I think is fantastic. It really puts you into the mood of, again, that kind of like I'm taking a road trip through the Nevada desert kind of vibe. And then on the right side, you have your guidance messages. It's a very empowering deck. The way it's written, it's a little bit of a kick up the butt. It's here to help you reignite your inner fire and reignite your rebellious side. Again, you know, of course, it being the Outlaw Oracle, and that's really what I've used it for myself. Anytime I needed something a little bit empowering and something to help me remember that I had agency in my life, that I could change my mindset, this was a great deck to use. So here are the backs. Matte cardstock, really beautiful to shuffle. I love the cardstock actually. We have golden edges. How many cards in this one? I don't think I told you guys how many. 44. This is a photography deck, and you're going to see on each of the card, we have main keywords, and then at the bottom we have key phrases as well as some elements. So you don't have to go into the guidebook if you don't want to, but the guidebook has been great, and I've mostly used it alongside it because I really like reading what the creators have to say. The main reason why I got this deck truly is because it reminds me of the year I spent studying in Montana when I was younger, and it was such a weird experience for me coming from Reunion Island and then France to spend 1 year in Montana. It was such a culture shock. I'd never been to America, let alone somewhere that is so focused on like cowboy culture and that has such great nature, expensive places like Yellowstone and all of that. So it was a huge culture shock for me, and yet I learned so much that year, and it was fascinating and I loved it. I had such a good time. I made best friends that I still have to this day, friends for life. That's mostly why I got this deck, because it reminded me of the year I spent in America, especially as I did a road trip with some friends all across America during that year. Memories I will cherish for the rest of my life, and this deck is that for me. It's bringing me back to that nostalgia. I'm now, dealing with dynamic disability. I might never be able to do something like that again. A road trip that lasts for weeks, where sometimes you're sleeping in tents and, you're just like, each day brings its lot of challenges and adventures. And yet, I'm very grateful and lucky that I got to live that I got to cherish those memories, and so this deck reminds me of that as well. It reads really good. Like I said, it's great for like when you need a little bit kick off the butt, when you need something quite fiery. I think if I had to give an element, this feels like a fiery deck, a little bit of a Leo, I would say, in energy. Great for the summer for sure. Beautiful indie creation that I'm really glad I picked up this year. We're gonna move on to my last category before we jump to my top 3. So the last category I wanted to mention as part of this like top decks of the year are my divination decks. You guys, if you watch my channel, might know I love using oracle decks for divination, for fortune telling. It's so fun. I think it's really a great way to spend and flex your intuitive muscles, and I just really adored oracle decks that allow me to do some proper OG fortune telling, And so I have 3 decks that I want to mention for that. The first one is Mass Market. It's the Story Oracle by Catherine Furman, illustrations by Leia Albaladejo. We have 78 cards. Already nice chunky decks. You guys know I'm a greedy bitch. I love big oracle decks with lots of cards. That makes me happy. Originally, this is a deck for creative writing. As the name suggests, the Story Oracle, it's meant to help you write stories, right? For creative writers, for journaling, whatever. And yet, for divination and fortune telling, this works so great. I love this one so much. Comes with a little guidebook for each of the card. We have upright and reverse keywords for oracular use, so for divination. So really good guidebook. I think we have some spreads as well, like story arc, to help you write stories, to help you figure out the characters of your story, stuff like that. This is such an intuitive deck, and you're gonna see the images speak for themselves. I've mostly used it like intuitively, not really referencing the guidebook. Here are the backs, quite basic, but they do the job. And you're gonna see the color palette on this one is a little bit more limited. I think it's mostly like primary colors, red, yellows, and blues. This is so good for, like I said, divination, fortune telling. You're trying to get the energies of the week. You're trying to get the energies of the month. You're trying to find out what's gonna happen at your friend's next date, or one of your friends is saying like, I've got a job interview, can you pull a couple of cards to find out how it's gonna go? This is a true stellar. Spill the tea. And also the fact that the images are so relatable. If I'm pulling a couple of cards for my friend, for example, they automatically also don't need me to analyze it. I mean, I'm here to give them the message, but they can see it themselves, which I think is great. Super accessible. Out of all the decks I'm presenting to you today, this is one of the most accessible, I would think, and also one I would recommend the most, because I really truly think anyone could enjoy this. Whether you want to use it for oracular purposes like fortune telling, divination, whether you want to use it for giving you inspiration for storytelling. This is modern, it's relatable, it goes with so many modern decks, there's tons of cards, and it's awesome. And also it's quite original. Some of those keywords are quite unique, right? It's not your stereotypical keywords like mistaken identity, for example, conflict. It's really well balanced. We have light and shadow. I love this, really, truly. It didn't quite make my top 3, as I have, others I'll share with you that I've used and loved more so for divination, but it's still absolutely a favorite of the year. See that? Look at that friendly creature, one of my favorite cards. It's so cute. Another mass market hidden gem for divination, fortune telling, that kind of vibe that I absolutely adore this year is the Oracle Disney. This is a French mass market creation, so the text is in French, the cards are in French. I'm not sure if this is going to be picked up mass market in English. I am seeing a lot of French creations being translated in English, you guys. This year there was a ton. So maybe, as it seems like there's a lot more interest in English publishers to translate French texts, as hey, we have a lot of awesome texts, French creators. There's a lot of Oracle decks out there. We are lucky that there's a lot of creations, a lot of mass market creations. But for now, as it's not translated, you can get it on like Amazon.fr, things like that. I will try and leave a link in the description box for you guys. It's got 40 cards, and as the name suggests, this is a Disney-inspired deck. And probably one of the most surprising decks of the year, honestly, because you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a Disney deck, it's going to be sweet, it's going to be cute, it's going to be about inner child. Not at all. This is actually a sniper, a sharpshooter for when you want to find out the tea, right? Because this is actually a lot more tailored towards divination and fortune telling than you would think it would be. And here we have a good variety of Disney characters, right? We have OG ones like Scrooge McDuck, or we have more recent ones. So here it says you're getting some money, right? Obviously, with Snow White, it's about facing your fears. We have Frozen here with finding your path. For the Beauty and the Beast, we have Open Your Mind. For Pocahontas, we have Follow Your Instinct. For the Lion King, we have An Immense Joy. I think this is Sleeping Beauty, right? It says a message from the past. Lilo and Stitch, I love them. We have A Decisive Meeting. I love Lilo and Stitch. So cute. There's just so many great messages here. And again, very much tailored towards divination, fortune telling, finding out what's going to happen. You have a question about a situation. This is one of those decks that I've gone to the most if I have like daily matters questions. My mom has used this one for herself. I've put cards for my friends for this. I've used it for other people on my second channel. If you have a question about day-to-day matters, you would not think to go to a Disney deck, and yet this slaps, okay? This will actually tell you the tea. Exactly. And I love that so much. So for Quasimodo, we have Looking Beyond Appearances. For this is like there's going to be a delay, and it's referencing the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. For Mulan, we have Knowing How to Adapt, another one of my favorite Disney when I was little. I loved Mulan. She was my favorite princess. I know she's not a princess, but I wanted to be her. We have A Need for Justice from Robin Hood. There's just lots, right? More modern ones, more OG Disney's ones, and it's fantastic. Ratatouille, another huge favorite of mine. We have Union Makes You Stronger, or like working together makes you stronger. So really great messages. Again, a good balance in terms of like the kinds of messages you're getting. For the guidebook, obviously it's all in French. For each of the card, you have an image, you have a repetition of the keyword, you're being told where the Disney come from. Here we have the characters from Bambi, and then you have a little message that is again very much tailored towards, I would say, fortune telling divination. So here for the Bambi card, it's about a great friendship, and it's telling you that you're going to meet someone very important. There might also be some news coming from your friends, that there's something, a specific relationship that is going to call to your attention, that you're going to have to pay attention to a specific friendship that either requires your attention and your support, or they are going to show up for you when you need. So it's not so much, I would say, personal development based, but really more so fortune telling divination, and I've loved it. On the side we have Silver Edge, which, considering I've used this deck to death this year, it's holding really well. And the backs we have Tinkerbell, so really sweet. Hopefully one day they will translate it for you guys. If not, I think it's fairly easy to translate. The language is very accessible, so if you guys are willing to do that, you won't have any issues, I think. The last oracle deck I wanted to mention in my divination fortune telling category is a indie deck. It's one that you can find on Make Playing Cards. So it's a print-on-demand oracle deck that is by a Filipino creator. If you don't know what Make Playing Cards is, it's a print-on-demand website where people post their deck creation, and you can actually literally print it on demand. I have made a whole dedicated video about it, sharing with you my favorite decks, how to use the website. I'm not sponsored, I'm just sharing it because the website is a pain to navigate, and so I wanted to make it easier for you guys. So I'll leave it in the card somewhere, that video, if you haven't seen it yet. There's lots of wonderful decks available on Make Playing Cards, and this is one of them. This is called the Canuel Oracle Council of Yore. It's created by J.A. Canuel, or Canuel, I'm not sure, with a little thank you card. And you also have a link that you can download a PDF guidebook, which is fantastic, by the way. The PDF for this is great. I've referenced it. I've loved it. Here are the backs of the card. Beautiful. And this is on linen cardstock, so it's a joy to shuffle. This is a fantastic creation because it's a celebration of Pixie's art style. You're gonna see this is a deck that really truly inspires itself from Pamela Coleman Smith's art style, the artist who created the RWS or Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. I adore the RWS. I adore Pixie's art style. And so when I discovered this particular deck, which is a celebration, an homage to Pixie's style, I didn't hesitate. On top of that, it's super cool because, as you can see, it is all about objects and places. So the kind of deck that I personally love, as we have one image, one keyword, and in the guidebook, of course, you are given meanings, which are great, but I personally have loved using this, again, for very much like a divinatory purpose. So looking at the energies of the week ahead, thinking about what's going to happen at my next medical appointment. Again, if my friend is like, I have a job interview, can you tell me how it's going to go? This deck is wonderful for that, as I personally have used it very intuitively, and I think it works like a charm. I love all the variety of keywords, of places, of objects. Of course, it's an amazing deck to pair with the OG RWS. It's like, you know, a match made in heaven, and I really love it. It's hugely underrated. I never see anyone share it, and yet, come on, all of my RWS lovers, I don't have anything bad to say about this. I'm so excited to continue using it next year. I've used it on my pick a pile readings to get the energies of the months ahead. It works wonderfully for that, and in my personal practice as well, I've used it for that. I'm going to continue using it next year for sure. It's just a joy, and on top of that, I think the artwork is wonderful. Okay, you guys, we have made it to my top 3. Like I said, all the other ones, it was quite hard to rank. It didn't feel right this year, but my top 3 was very clear. The decks I used the most this year, the decks I enjoyed the most this year, and I truly believe that my number 1 Oracle deck of the year is not going to be a surprise. If you guys have watched any of my videos this year, you already know what to expect. But we're gonna start at number 3. We have an indie creation by Inner Reflect. This is the Inner Reflect Oracle. It originally was sent to me for review, but of course all of the opinions are my own. This is the only deck here present that is created with the help of AI, which I know is not for everybody. I personally avoid backing any AI decks on Kickstarter. I'm very particular with the AI decks I used. What I appreciate about Jelly's particular work is that 1, there's a lot of editing, you can tell, and 2, he's very transparent about using AI. It's literally telling you on the box that it says AI generated images. So that's what I'm asking for people who use AI. Whatever we think of it, it's not going anywhere. What I ask though of creators who use it is transparency and honesty, and I really appreciate that Jelly is very open and transparent. It says on the box, and I really appreciate that. So this is a 50 card deck that is coming in this beautiful matte rose petal finish. Really awesome to shuffle. We have a thank you card, we have a title card, we have yes and no card, which I've taken out, and then here are the backs. Again, the production quality is awesome. Such a pleasure to shuffle. It feels soft. So of course, this deck you can get directly from the Inner Reflex website. He also has a matching tarot deck, which is great. I ended up using the Oracle a lot more than the tarot though, because there's just something about the choices of keywords, the variety of keywords, that is just awesome to read with. Like, this has been used non-stop for myself, non-stop for when I'm reading for others. I've used it in so many pick a pile. I'm going to use it for my 2026 pick a pile video again. There's just something about the choices of keywords and the choices of art style that Jelly has found and edited that just works. I was so surprised that I ended up bonding with this deck so much, but I literally read with this non-stop. Great readings for myself or for others. Again, to get the vibes, the energies of the week ahead, of the months ahead. It's so good. So this has been my most use when it comes to divination, fortune telling. I love the anime inspired art style, is very much up my alley. I think Jelly has done a great work editing the images. You know, there's no like weird six fingers here. And overall, for an AI deck, I was so surprised, so pleasantly surprised. I also love that a lot of decks from Inner Reflect showcase elderly people, older people. That's something I've noticed that he does, and I really like that. I like seeing older people in my decks. This sabotage card is awesome. Honestly, there's just a lot of great concepts, and this goes with a lot of my modern decks, a lot of my fantasy decks. It kind of goes with everything, obviously with like my manga, anime inspired decks. So this has been a joy, and that's why it's at number 3. This is one of my favorite cards. It's giving hermit energy, and I really love it. So that's the Inner Reflect Oracle. Really awesome to give you clear direction, clear reading, straight to the point. I love it. At number 2 of my favorite Oracle decks of the year, we have the True Sight Oracle. This is an indie creation by Eric Mai. You might know him as the creator of the Inkwitch Tarot, the Endless Tarot, the Endless Oracle. This has been such a joy, and it's because it speaks to kind of a newer obsession of mine, which is watching people play Dungeons and Dragons. For the last couple of years, I have absolutely fallen into the rabbit hole of watching people play D&D and having the best time watching those people, mostly through Dimension 20, which is a online TV show where people play D&D, which I adore. You can find it on Dropout, but they also have a YouTube channel where there's a few campaigns for free. And of course, watching Critical Role as well, which I actually got into this year. Last year, I was watching Dimension 20. This year, I got into Critical Role. This is a newer obsession in my life, and I couldn't be more happy that I discovered this because it has brought me so much joy to fall into this rabbit hole, and this deck really speaks to that. Because if you couldn't guess already from the box and everything, this is a deck that is very inspired by Dungeons and Dragons and this whole world. Now, I don't play D&D. I've never played. I'd love to. I just don't know where I could find people to play with here, but I would love it. But I adore watching people play. So when I found out that Eric was doing a deck inspired by D&D, but turning it for something that could be used in an oracular way, I was like, take my money. This is awesome. So this was a Kickstarter I backed, but you can buy it now on Eric's website, as I believe on like Etsy and stuff, it's now available for purchase. So on the guidebook is really well thought out because you have tons of information, like spreads and everything, on how you can use this deck both for playing D&D or for a divinatory / oracular purpose. I obviously used it for that, not for playing, but you could, if you guys play as well, use it for both ways. So here at the top, you can see you have investigation. So here is your message in a reading, but then at the bottom you have in-game effect, and so this is how it would affect the game if you use this whilst you're role-playing. So here are the black and white deck, and you're gonna see each of the card. You have a keyword that reference like either a feat or a part of the game that is obviously very specific to D&D. Now, I, again, don't play, but I've watched a ton of it at this point. I'm obsessed with the new Critical Role campaign because it's being DM'd by my personal favorite DM, Brennan Belligan. Obviously, I'm very, I've discovered him on Dimension 20, so the fact that he's now over on Critical Role, I'm having the best time. I think it's such an amazing campaign. I literally wait every week eagerly to watch the new episode. You guys, again, can find it on YouTube. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll try and leave a link in the description box. It's all free. And I find a lot of inspiration from watching people play and role play, especially because it's all improv. That really sparkles my imagination, but I also believe it makes me a better tarot reader, and that's because it helps me, one, to connect the dots, 2, it expands my mind. And 3, tarot is kind of improv, right? When you think about it, you pull the cards, you don't know what you're going to get. It's kind of a form of improv, not with someone else, but the universe. The universe is giving you something and you have to go yes and, right? You're pulling cards from your tarot deck. You're asking about something. You might expect some kind of answer and you get something completely different. And yet it's your job as a reader to go yes and, right? You can't change what the card says. If the card is giving you something, if you're getting that one card, you have to go and read with it. You can't try and turn things around, right? In the sense of, if you've pulled the tower, you've pulled the tower. There's no way around it. You have to continue and get the message that the tower is giving you. And once I realized role-playing and tarot, there's similarity there. For me, it kind of unlocked a whole new door. Specifically for myself, I find a lot of joy using fantasy decks anyway. I find immense joy using linking tarot with my favorite books, linking tarot with fantasy world. And this really is another way of looking at tarot, which is through this kind of like fun gaming component. I love the idea of gamifying your tarot practice. It doesn't work for every kind of readings, obviously, but for my own personal ones, it just brings me a lot of inspiration, creativity, fun, joy, and at the end of the day, that's what it should be, right? Tarot should be fun. Is this a deck I would use for other people? Maybe, if it comes to the right kinds of readings. I mean, I definitely want to do a reading for you guys on my other channel at the beginning of the year using this, because you're going to see how it reads. But for my own practice, this has brought me so much joy because I just love the idea of linking tarot to something else, in this case linking tarot to this particular role-playing game and these fantasy kind of inspiration. Okay, you guys, we have made it at my top spot, my number one spot that I think a lot of you guessed. It is a mass market gem. It's got froggies, it's got amazing boots. Can you guess what it is? Of course, The Little Frog's Guide to Self-Care by Maple Quay. This is a mass market deck. It's got 52 affirmation cards, and I love this deck so much. This is my most used deck of the year. I remember at the end of last year, I got this, I think December. I told you guys, I think this is going to be my most used deck of 2025. I can feel it. And guess what? I called it. I used it non-stop. And not only did I use it a ton, I loved it so much that it's actually my favorite oracle deck of the year. I've gifted it to so many friends. I think it makes a fantastic gift, and overall it's just a joy. So originally this is mass market. It comes with 52 cards, one for each week of the year. Also comes with a little wood stand, which is great, which is somewhere on my altar. Considering you get 52 cards and a wooden stand, this is great value for money, first of all. And I adore Mabel's art style. I think it's adorable. We have like super cute froggies wearing absolutely terrific shoes. Every outfit slays. But this is not just a cute deck, and this is why I have loved this deck so much and why it's my favorite. Because whilst it looks cute, this actually packs a punch. So for example, we have I'm allowed to rest without guilt. It is so brave of me to exist. There's no guidebook in this one, as it's an affirmation deck. So you literally get your image and you have the message on the card. Look at this. We have my pain can be transformed, my trauma can be transformed, my anger can be transformed. So yes, it's adorable, it's cute. We have, awesome boots, super adorable froggy, but it also goes a lot deeper than you might expect. And so when it comes to affirmation, this has just been a delight. I've pulled the card every week. It was literally constantly on my altar, and I always had a little card on the stand out for me to go back and reference when I wanted a little card on my day to get a little message of a little affirmation, a little self-care message. I would pull a card. I pulled cards for friends. I've gifted this to many friends, and literally everyone loves it, even people who don't normally like oracles, in the sense of not like we might do, like we fellow deck goblins. I have friends who love self-care, and maybe they do a little bit of yoga or they do some journaling, but they're not necessarily into cards the way I am, but they love this because this just feels approachable, accessible, healing, sweet, and yet again, it packs a punch. Here it says, I'm becoming the kind of person who I would love to meet. It talks about grief, it talks about trauma, it talks about fear, it talks about self-perception and self-criticism and perfectionism. It does so all the while looking absolutely adorable and wearing the best shoes. Leave you. We'll put a little card for, again, end of the year. What do we need to know? Little affirmation, little self-care message for everyone watching. Let's see. We have, I am not my past. Perfect reminder considering we are entering a new year. It's a great time to leave the burdens behind, leave the old version of you behind. You are entitled to start fresh every single day. You don't even have to wait for the 1st of January. Thank you so much for being here and tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Those are all free ways to support my work. Definitely let me know in the comments what were your favorite oracle decks of the year. And if you want to make me extra happy, you can leave a little butterfly emoji in the comments. It will let me know you made it till the end. It will put a big smile on my face. So until next time, I'm sending you so much good vibes. I hope you're taking good care of yourself, and I'll see you soon, internet. Bye!